AI,
As in
and
artificial intelligence?
artificial intelligence, and its use in real estate. Is it a Terminator or is it a tactical tool?
Welcome to the RE Real Estate Podcast, where we discuss buying and selling real estate in black and white. Here are your hosts, Ben Harang and Clint Galliano.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the RE Real Estate Podcast. My name is Ben Harang. I'm with my co-host, Clint Galliano. Good afternoon, Clint. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, Ben. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing terrific today. The wonders of technology, we're sitting about 12 miles apart. And other than the background, we could be doing it side by side or around the world. And it just, every time we do this and start talking before we start recording, I'm amazed at the technology and how far it's come. I saw a video of Hurricane Katrina aftermath yesterday. 20th anniversary is coming up. And the quality of the video and the fact that we had to go through 3 generations of different media to be able to use it 20 years later, I'm just glad we still have the video. So anyway, the wonders of technology never cease to amaze me. So what's on the agenda today, Clint?
So we're talking about some more recent technology, and that's AI.
As in
And
artificial intelligence?
artificial intelligence and its use in real estate. Is it a Terminator or is it a tactical tool?
That's a good question. Sound like we're going to talk about it.
Yep. Kind of the goal here is to demystify AI. A lot of people, well, there's two main camps, probably three camps on thoughts on AI. One is going to be a panacea and it's going to do everything for everybody. The other one of the other camps is going to be it's going to take everybody's jobs. And then third camp, which I feel that I'm squarely in the middle of, it's a tool that's going to allow you to do more and help you to do your job a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of my main thoughts on it. So we'll go ahead and kick it off. Kind of the main thing, it's like, I guess we'll start it out as don't worry, a robot's not going to sell your house.
And the reality is a lot of what we do today is AI. We're just starting to hear the term AI more often. But if you ever chatted with anybody on a website, you're not chatting with a person. That's pre-canned responses to frequently asked questions, and it cuts down on their person-to-person interaction, which is cheaper.
Well, let's flip that around a little bit. What's being called AI is actually just programmatic responses.
Okay.
What has started the AI craze in the last couple of years is the expansion of large language models. So I guess the elephant in the room, people worry about AI taking over. They think about uh, the Terminator and Skynet
Mm-hmm.
basically killing almost everybody. I don't think that'll ever happen, but what is commonly called AI, and then we I think we talked a little bit last week about how there's articles in the news about people falling in love with AI chatbots and stuff, and there's probably people in Japan that want to marry their AI chatbots and everything. There was a movie back in 2016, I think, called She. Might have been 2013, I don't remember, but there's basically about this guy that fell in love with his AI, and then all the AIs said, you know what, humans are so, light years behind us, so we're just gonna leave and go off on our own.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, that's just a sidebar.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what they've been able to do with these large language models is allow them to process inputs and give real language outputs. Before chatbots and everything, if your question or your ask responded or asked a question that was, saying, all right, I'd like to see this house, then it would say, give me the address, because it
Mm-hmm.
was programmed to say if they asked to see a house, ask for the address.
Right.
And then that would be communicated to somebody.
Huh?
Nowadays, they've made it to where it'll accept pretty much any input, and just based on the large language models, it more or less figures out what you're trying to ask, and then it goes out and searches for the answers. And so it's not like it's thinking, it's not like it's, reasoning. It's just going through its data and coming
Right.
up with the most likely answer.
It's 100% data driven, and there's no critical thinking in the process. There's that you don't get to know it, and it get to know you from on a personal level. What's driving you to make the decision you're making? What would stop you from making that decision? What would help you make that decision? The back and forth that we have as people is they try to build it into AI, and at this point, they've not been successful doing that. But the way I see it, and Clint and I are pretty much on the same page, is you can embrace AI or you cannot embrace AI. If you don't embrace AI, you get left behind. It's just another step in the process. Every time there's a technological change in the real estate business, and AI is just not in the real estate business, it's in life. We lose some experienced and seasoned agents because they don't have enough fire in themselves to make that leap again with another learning curve using technology. And that's unfortunate that we lose some good people, but you need to commit to making the changes, because we certainly don't do business like we did 5 years ago. It's been a little over 5 years that Clint and I have both been at KW, and thinking about how we did business before I came to KW, how we did business when I got to KW, and how we do business today, it's not even close. Who would have thought I had a studio set up in an office to do these videos? I guess people 5 years ago did the same thing. It just I wasn't into it yet. So it's just a change in the times, and I think everybody's better off if we embrace it and use it to our advantage.
Yeah, I guess the main thing is, as far as to think about it, is that AI is a co-pilot, not the pilot. It's not driving the actions, it's assisting
Mm-hmm.
in whatever you're trying to use it for. It's not going to magically generate ideas for you. It might help you refine ideas. It might help you filter through the noise, but it's not going to make the decisions for me. The decisions are still up to the buyers and sellers.
And Clint knows this AI story from a couple of months ago about designing a 3D model that I wanted to design. And I told it what I wanted, went back and forth, and they said, yeah, we're doing it. We ought to have it in the next day or two. We're doing it. We're working on it. We're almost there. And it became apparent early on that they were leading me on. So I went and designed it myself, but I strung them on until I had enough, and I called them out about lying to me, and they were flat lying to me, and they acknowledged it. They were just stringing me along because it's not something they were capable of doing, but it's like they didn't want to admit they couldn't do it. So it's certainly not a perfect process or panacea. So it's built by people. So there's always going to be a human element to it. Another sidebar.
Ultimately, it's almost like I don't know. Think back to stories of having an assistant that's always trying to please you, even if they're telling you lies. It's like you'll see these characters in stories, and that's pretty much what AI is. So if you do use it, be very specific in what you ask for and tell it how you want it to give you answers. So some people use, I guess you could put the label AI on it for property alerts, things like that. I don't call that an AI, but it's a basic form. It's automation more
Right.
than
It's a
anything
it's
else.
automating the process more than real AI.
But I still classify AI in the same bucket as that because it's a tool to get things done rather than set up the search parameters for something a client likes. So if a buyer's trying to find something specific, set up the search parameters and they get emails whenever something that resembles what they're looking for comes on the market or has a price change or something like that and sends out a notification. That makes my job a lot easier. So I don't have to be looking at what's on the market every 5 minutes to specifically find that property.
And
So it makes it a little easier.
I wouldn't say it's easier. It makes it more productive because I don't think people really care if the job is hard or easy. And I tell people all the time, this job is extremely difficult. If anybody could do it, we wouldn't have a job. The reason we
This
have
is
a
true.
job is because it's so difficult and it gets into minutia detail that if you don't do it regularly, you can get lost in a hurry and get yourself in a bind. So it gives us the freedom to be more productive so we can continue to represent our clients is the way I see it.
Yeah. So another one is home valuation. We talked about that a couple of times since the beginning of the year, since we started releasing episodes. There are a lot of home valuation tools out there. Uh, they all have their degrees of accuracy, and they don't have the same accuracy across the board.
Mm-hmm.
The same tool will not give you an accurate price in every location across the country. It all depends on what data they have access to, but it gives you a ballpark estimate. Again, it's another tool in the toolbox.
Right. It gives you a down and dirty guesstimate of the value as a place to start. And then you
And
go
that
through the
was
process.
guesstimate, not the other word that sounds like that.
Right. Right. And always wondered why somebody has their house listed for $200,000 and they want it on a website that claims that house is worth $160,000. That never made sense to me. Sometimes the list price is wrong. Sometimes the guesstimate is wrong.
But they
But
put
it
a
just
$40,000 pool in.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The best way to get a pool at a house is to buy a house with a pool, Clint. You put $40,000 in a pool. If you get $5,000 or $10,000 back for it, you're doing real good.
Yeah.
So that's a real estate ism, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We mentioned chatbots earlier
yeah.
on in the episode here, so those are basically the same thing. You ask a question and it tries to give you an answer based on programmed or canned answers that they've got. Facebook has this built in on business pages. Websites can have this built in, and you feed it specific data to give answers.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, chatbot or an AI can't keep up with a human. They can give answers, and they can probably give answers faster than any human can, or practically any human can.
Mm-hmm.
But what they don't understand is nuance. They can't figure out why you want to move. They can't figure out, or they can't understand the excitement of a growing family, the stress of a sudden relocation,
Right.
or the sentimental value of a childhood home. They
Exactly.
can't take any of that stuff into account while communicating with you. And
They'll
that puts a big difference in the responses you get from that rather than interacting with a human.
and a big part of what we do every day when we're talking to people is I call it talking them off the ledge. They're frustrated, they're overwhelmed, they don't know if they're making the right decision or not. It's an emotional decision. AI is strictly data driven. So AI can't understand one of the partners wants to take the new job and the other one wants to stay where they are, and there's internal conflict to be taken into consideration when you're navigating the process. The kids are starting a new school. There's 3 kids and they've been in the same school, and now they're going to split them up and send them to 3 different schools with different take-in times and let out times. And just life happens, and I can't imagine maybe after I'm gone that AI can take all of that into consideration and trying to help people make the decision that's in their best interest. Not just this is the cheapest, this is where you want to live, just not just the data driven results. We do a little counseling in there. We talk through issues, we address concerns, and I just haven't seen a computer that can do that yet.
And the other thing to add to that, and I think it's probably one of the most critical things, is that an AI doesn't have a fiduciary duty to you
Right.
as a buyer or a seller.
Right.
Its purpose is to execute a command based on data, whereas a real estate agent has legal and ethical or fiduciary duties to act in your absolute best interest.
Right. So if both a buyer and a seller ask AI the same question, they're going to get the same response. But if the buyer has a conversation with their agent who they trust, they can come to one conclusion or decision. If the seller has a conversation with the selling agent and they talk about it depending on what's the motivation for the seller to sell their house and how bad they want to move on with their life and things like that. Hopefully, the two meet somewhere on something that they can both live with after consultation with their agents and come up with a plan that can help everybody move forward. That's difficult for an automated process to do.
Yeah. Recap everything. AI is a powerful tool. It's making buying and selling more efficient, uh, and is helping it to be data driven, but it's not the be all end all. The best results come from having an agent that uses AI for data analysis and speed, but the agent having wisdom, empathy, and ethical guidance to provide you with the best representation possible. And ultimately, final decision on what some people it's the biggest financial investment in their life.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be left to an algorithm because that algorithm is not personalized to their situation. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a generative large language model. It's personal, it's human. Technology can inform it, but at least right now, it can't replace it.
There's a certain group of people, professional people, that I'm gonna try not to call out specifically, that are completely and absolutely data driven, and they want answers to questions, and they're gonna make an analytical decision based on the information they have available. Those people will probably do a deep dive into AI and make an analytical decision. They don't want anybody to help them walk through a process. It's going to be driven by the data, and that's it. Those people are sometimes difficult to deal with because it's kind of outside the norm of what we do, depending on how focused they are on that. But most people, it becomes an emotional decision. They have highs and lows, and we help them get through those things that AI at this point can't help them get through. So, is it a cure all? No. Does it help? It does. It's like having an assistant with us to help us get the job done for our clients.
There it is.
Okay. I think that's it, Clint. We can wrap it up. Uh, Another one's in the can, and we may even be doing a couple of specials coming up.
Yep. So just want to remind everybody to check out arirealestatepodcast.com. That's our website. You can go there and find the link to our YouTube channel if you want to watch our shining, young, beautiful faces. You can find the audio episodes, or you can link to your favorite podcast application and subscribe through there. That's all there. Also, if you want to ask a question, if you've got a burning real estate question, but you don't want to call one of us directly, you can ask a question on the website and we'll address it here on the podcast.
Absolutely.
And you can also find out Ben and I's contact information. We've got links to our individual websites there also. So looking forward to talking to y'all real soon in the future. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, and share on this episode, however you find it, and share it with your friends. And like Ben said, it's another one in the can. We'll see you on the next episode.
Hey, Clint, have a good one. See you later.
All right, Ben. Bye-bye.
While we may discuss topics such as lending, interest rates, title law, real estate law, and appraisals in addition to real estate sales and transactions, please remember that we are only trained and licensed as real estate salespeople in Louisiana. The information shared on this podcast is for general purposes only and should not be taken as legal or financial advice. We may be agents, but unless we have signed paperwork stating otherwise, we are not your agents.